Welcome back to Major League SoRare. It's your guys TrippinB and DraftKicks, rocking and rolling in the MLS streets, the America streets of SoRare. It's a wild time in SoRare, one of the wilder times I can imagine, and we got a lot to talk about today as we are just one weekend away. It's the final weekend without MLS play this upcoming weekend, and then MLS gets going with aplomb and in full force on February 25th. Want to shout you out, Schuyler DraftKicks. How you doing, man? What's going on today?
Doing well. Just we got some flooding and some bad weather up here in the Midwest, but took the kayak to the studio this morning, and here we are, ready to talk Major League Soccer. So,
well, stay dry, man. You're actually, before we get into some of the SoRare nitty gritty, you are rocking one of the sweetest. First off, I'm rocking my Rossing Club kit. You know, Vamos, Enzo Capetti. Everybody knows I'm a Charlotte fan, and got to see Capetti score a goal last weekend in a friendly, which was awesome. But enough about that. You are rocking one of the sweetest kits I've ever seen in the history of this show. Please stand up, show that baby off.
Yeah, I had to pull out the old retro Mauricio Cienfuegos retro LA Galaxy kit, and so
if you know for sure.
Yeah, really old school, going back to like the 96, probably 96 Galaxy days, somewhere around there. But
forget MLS 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. That's like MLS 0.5 right there. I feel like that is old school for sure.
Yeah, I love the jersey. I got to shout out the LA Galaxy Discord people over there. They ran a fantasy league for MLS Fantasy probably, I don't know, 2 years ago, and I took the whole thing down. Got this jersey. I got a sweet pull out the trophy here. Got a sweet
must be nice
trophy to show off.
Yeah.
So it
Excellent.
was I mean, for a fantasy league, then I thought that they ran it right, and like I love the trophy, like getting an actual physical trophy. Like
of course. Yeah.
Even in youth sports, like it's all gone to like medals and stuff. When I was playing, you would get a trophy.
Right. Hold of that trophy. So,
yeah.
Well, you can look over. You can look over my right shoulder and see a few of my proudest trophies as well. But we're not here to talk about those beautiful statues. We're here to talk about MLS. How excited are you that we are so close? I mean, it's like we're crawling to get to the season, and it feels almost weird, like hyping up. Oh, there's still only one. We're in the final weekend without MLS soccer, because we're going to be even more hyped next week. But it feels good this week.
Oh yeah, I am amped, man. It's been, for me, like we've talked about, my collection is mostly all MLS, right. And so I've been kind of limited to some of the free-to-play SoRare contests. I have dabbled in SoRare NBA, but for me, then this is it. Like, this is what I've been prepping for. This is what I have pretty much just invested most of my time and effort in SoRare into. So it's go time.
You know how like if farmers have like one field that they are like actively growing crops in, and then they have another field that they let it lie dormant and let the soil like regenerate and all the nutrients build up again. You're that dormant field that's just about to like be planted and hopefully start showing some fruit and reaping some rewards for sure. So
that is the hope.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I hope you're doing well in the free to plays, and you're here. Like, the reason that we do this show is because we love MLS, and like you're here to help not only yourself but help the people. I know you're a man of the people, and you want everyone. I want people that watch this show to like benefit from your knowledge, and then hopefully I can add a point or two here or there, and we can get along our way. But we want to talk first. We got a couple points today. We're going to talk about the market. We're obviously can't ignore the market, and we're going to get to that in a second. There's some issues we can talk about, and maybe some strategy points. We're going to talk about contest selection coming up. If you are mostly MLS and you don't play the other leagues, you might not quite know how things are working out in the early days of this whole capped mode versus regionals, and where the rewards are and where to put your guys. How many goalies do you need? How many goalkeepers do you need is a big question. So we're going to get to that. And then also we're celebrating. There is going to be I'm going to tease a little celebration at the end of this episode. We're going to do a real world deep dive on a rewards pool for a very specific reason. So let's start with the market, Schuyler, and just like what do you think about the so-called SoRare crash that's happening these days in the last week or so, and in a time when this time last year things just like were heating up and were like red hot. Right now it's ice cold.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I don't know. I think 3 weeks ago, I was saying start buying MLS because
I know,
prices are going to.
And that was honest advice. It's not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We both followed through it. We both put our money where our mouths were on that. For sure.
Oh yeah, I've been buying, over the last 2 weeks, and I've been trading. trying to spruce my deck up, but it's kind of frustrating when I'm seeing guys that I paid up for a little bit, just prices slashed, and guys that I was looking at buying, I could have, if I waited, could have probably upgraded, say like a Ryan Gauld or something, which I'm not mad about having a Gauld, but I could have probably bought a Hani Mukhtar for as much as Mukhtar is going right now. I think I looked yesterday and he's at 0.45, somewhere in that range.
Right.
Which
As much as we love Gauld and he does everything, like Mukhtar, same age, better team. You know, if you get those two for the same price, you're going to lean Mukhtar. I think as good as Gauld is.
Former or MVP from last season.
Right. Exactly. And you can see, like, if you look, what I called up here is on the screen share is the rankings page for America division. So it's not all just MLS. Diego Rubio came through as the number one ranked American player last year. And you can see these prices dropping for a lot of these guys, even top guys. It's not always. Like, if you look at Rubio, his floor price is currently higher than his 3-day average. That's probably a good sign. If you look at Lorenzo Insigne, though, his last public sale was 1.5 ETH, and now his on sale floor is 0.86, like half of that. So there's other factors involved in that, in the idea that Insigne he doesn't have MLS cards yet, right? Like all his cards are sort of his Napoli cards, and his market's a little shorter print and whatnot. But you just look 5 days ago, sold for 1.2 ETH, and now you can get them for 0.86, as a live offer on the table. And there's actually 6 to 7 offers that are cheaper than the most recent sale right there. Even 2 months ago, 1.5. These trades, I could dig into these trades. Let's just do one real quick just to see if it tells us anything. It does not, because it looks like it was someone just selling out. So that's the other thing, is we see a lot of people selling out galleries and whatnot and things like that. And it's just a time of like great uncertainty in the market, right? And it's like, how has it hit you? Like, what's your mental state just on, like, has your gallery value dropped? Do you pay attention to that day by day? I know it's it's kind of a boring topic to some people, but it is a lot of people's minds, and I would love just some quick thoughts for sure.
The gallery value has definitely dropped, unfortunately, which I think that's just across the board. And yeah, I check it out just to kind of keep up with what's happening across the market. And so, like I said, it's frustrating, it's disappointing, but for me, then I've kind of invested so much time and energy into this project that I'm just going to kind of ride the wave, hope that things turn around at some point. And right now I'm just, I'm focused on just entering some contests and taking down some prizes, and let's see what happens. But I'm not super phased. I know a lot of people are definitely panicking and getting out of SoRare, which I get it. But I think that for me personally, that my approach has always just been like, I'm just going to focus on MLS, get ready for the season, and then let's get through the season. And then, maybe we'll reevaluate and just see how things go. But I'm not panicking at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting. Carlos Heel, who is generally thought of as like the number one American player that you have, only 10th on the rankings chart. Just for what it's worth, for all the Carlos Heel heads out there. But I'm just jealous because I've never owned a Carlos Heel. He definitely wins people a lot of good prizes. But it's interesting to see his price down like 45% in the last couple months, and a guy that most people were like paying up 1.58 ETH for a month ago. Even a month ago, like, someone paid nearly 2 ETH for him. Now you can get him for under 1 ETH. And there's a lot. This auction will be kind of instructive. This live auction will be interesting to see. It'll probably close before most of us see this episode, but to be sitting with 8 hours left at 0.6 and the floor on the market's 0.9, will he get up to that floor? Will he go under point? Will he go for like 0.77 or something like that? I don't know. It's interesting. So one to watch for sure. One to come back to.
Yeah, actually, shared this with you guys in Discord, but I fell for a Carlos Vela auction, which at the time when I bought it, I think I looked back and it was the cheapest purchase in 6 months or something for a Carlos Vela rare. And yeah, he's getting up there. He's a veteran, but just with LAFC's off-season moves, I feel like he's going to be kind of the focal point of their attack again if he can stay healthy. And so I jumped on it, and I told you guys, I just got a Carlos Vela for as cheap as he's been in 6 months. And I think you came back and you were like, yeah, until the next sale.
Sell that boy. Yeah. Sell that card immediately. I think is what I said.
Sure enough. Yeah. Then the next sale was in that range, and then there was one that went for cheaper than, I think I got mine for 0.32. One went
I'm
for
looking. I'm looking
0.270.
at the list here. 0.328. The next one was sold right around the same. But yeah, then it started dropping down. Now his floor's already dropped. 7-8% from what you paid a few days ago. And like, yeah, and it's not like Vela's horrible. I would advise people to sell Vela. I'm very like that's a whole other, we will have probably when we get a little more like player specific probably next week. I will tell anyone sell Vela. I'm not into Carlos Vela as a reliable asset. But you like him, but even so, you still made the right economic move for the time, which was find a cheap auction, but then get out of it quickly.
Yeah, I was able to pawn it off. I got some ETH back out of it, and then I got some limited cards. I got an Evander limited, which I'm pretty high on Evander heading into the season.
Evander he's scoring goals in preseason. Evander, we've talked about Evander on the show for sure. We love him.
Yeah. So it in the end, then I think I just kind of jumped on these prices are way too low. But then once you start to look around,
but
how
low can they go becomes the question.
Everything's starting to trend down. So
if we could all buy the floor and sell the ceiling, we'd all be rich, obviously. But there is some evidence to say buy the dip. I personally am in this game for the long term, and I'm also like I'm the dumb fish that kind of keeps the game going because I legitimately do like play for fun on a pretty high level, a strong level. I mean, I've spent like thousands of dollars on Charlotte FC unique cards that don't really have a ton of utility for me. So but I like having them. So my perspective comes from there when I say like I'm happy to just like what I put in the game is what I could afford to put, and everybody should do the same. And don't freak out too much about your value. The other thing I will say, maybe the last quick thing on value. Let me first say that there are some. Not everybody's down. Not everybody's down. Like if I go back to this list, there's Gald's price is up from recent sales and things like that. But the one thing I wanted to point out here was, as I go to my gallery, is that SoRare Data added this new feature. I want to get your thoughts on this feature real quick because it's so funny. You can hide your roster valuation, right? So like you can hide it from yourself, basically. So like I don't need to see this. I don't need to freak out every day over the minor ups and downs and swings and things like that. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's pretty timely given the state of the market.
Yeah, exactly.
SoRare Data said, "Hey, we let's try to help people out here a little bit and give them the option to hide their value."
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I see as I call up the screen, I see my boy Pablo Cisniega lurking there. So I think we should move on to our next topic, which is who do I play and where? Contest selection. It's a big issue. If you haven't been playing hardcore in these last couple of weeks with Europe and the early Americas, and you're just waiting for MLS, like you, Schuyler, you're about to get hit with some real decision making. Like SoRare's new mode action is definitely like causing people to have to like evaluate and who can I play where, what are the contests that are worth chasing, what are the prize pools that are worth chasing, and how many goalkeepers do I need? Like I specifically bought the Pablo Cisniega, and we talked about him on the show. We kind of like semi-touted him as someone like worth having. I had this one I bought like a year and a half ago for his just for a Charlotte FC collection, even though he was like backup. He was even third string, I think, when I picked him up because he was coming back from an injury. But like he went from the third string to the backup goalkeeper in Charlotte to now he's at the point where he's going to be starting for a while Christian Kalina, last year's starter's out injured. We kind of have gone through that on the show, I believe. But like I just picked up I went to the Charlotte FC friendly last weekend, and like I saw Cisniega started. He looked good. He made a couple diving saves in the box, and he played all 90 minutes. Most importantly, they have one more preseason friendly left. I'm not sure if he's going to play or if George Marks, the other goalkeeper on the team, is going to play. But I felt very confident from what I saw that Pablo Cisniega is going to be the starter. So I started telling anyone to buy him, and I picked up two myself that day because like right after the match because you need goalkeepers. Like there's just a lot of contests. There's a lot of modes. And it's kind of a sticker shock when you realize, hey, if I want to play the All-Star, the regional, and the cap modes, like I need more cards.
Yeah, you're totally right. And I've been tinkering with the SoRare Data lineup builder, just trying to prep a little bit ahead of next week's slate. And yeah, at one point, then I was like, oh man, I need some keepers here. And I think it's funny because I think the morning of that Charlotte FC preseason game, I sent you a message and said, hey, do you think I should pull the trigger on this Cisniega at 0.125. You said, let me get back to you. I'm going to the game. And I think you were probably just sitting there messaging me in your seat like, hey, Cisniega's starting. Hey, he's not coming out at halftime. And so pretty much immediately I went in and I think I scooped up 2. I think, yeah, you look right there.
Yeah,
There's
you
me
can see that there's us. We both bought 2 each. Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably sitting in the stadium making your purchases, huh?
Oh, yeah. On my way out the door. Yeah, most
Love it.
definitely. And, you know, I told, you know, at that point, I sort of got my pump on, you know, it can be bad form to like pump your own guys that you just bought, but I just really believed in this guy. And I was trying to tell friends that were looking for goalkeepers. So you see like the buys started trickling once people realized, like more people sort of clued in the fact that he's going to be the starter. More people are picking him up. Now, this one's kind of funny though. This guy did pick up, this guy traded for Pablo's card with Quinny and then sold Pablo for like a real deep discount from 0.195 4 days ago to 0.117 just about 3 hours ago as of this recording. Is kind of interesting. Kind of makes me want to look into what happened here. And I don't know. It looks like Quinny was able to dump your boy Lewis Morgan and a couple spares for a super rare that he probably just wanted for his own purposes as a Scotland collector would be my guess like that, because Tierney's really not all that great. It's tough to depend on him for SO5. So yeah, but Pablo sales were an interesting little microcosm of this need for goalies, and like it all comes down right to like breaking down the prize pools when you have to make these decisions. Like if we look at America right now, it's given 60 prizes, but that's going to go up when MLS season starts in 2 weeks. Game week 349, I believe.
Oh, you think in
like,
2 weeks?
Yeah, well, 1 weekend and then the next weekend, so a week and a half, let's say. Like I think prize pools are gonna beef up there in America. At least I hope so. You never can trust these people with rewards. Sometimes it's like they have a rewards are an issue. Yeah, we'll even get into a little bit of that later. But then you compare it to like Cap 270, where you can win. You know, it's a bigger competition pool, but like, hey, you can, and you're competing against the world, but you can win super rares in the rare division with a little luck and a good lineup. So like, do I prioritize my best MLS players into Cap 270 and compete against Europe trying to win super rares? Well, when you see that one is only a tier 2 super rare, not like the best you get, you're still getting the star rare and then a bonus tier super rare on top. That's certainly worth chasing, but is it worth, you know, going, or would you rather not have to? You do have to deal with the cap in that case. Like you have to sort of construct your lineup around a cap, whereas, you know, in the America division, you could get star rare and you can actually win ETH on top. Maybe that 0.175 ETH that you could win for first place in Champion America, you feel that is in this market, especially, right? You couldn't really sell your tier 2 super rare for that potentially. So it's like, but it's a borderline decision. It's kind of interesting. So like, it just becomes really, it becomes really important, I guess, to say, is to examine these prize pools and start looking at like where you want to enter. And I think you can have an overarching strategy, but I don't think that you're going to be picking the same every week. I think week to week things could change. Like you could focus on 270 1 week and then go back to like America the next week, just based on like the way things break down, how your cap guys change. So it does create a lot of interesting decisions, which in my case makes for a good and a fun game.
Definitely. And I'll be probably surprised once I start diving into these contests. I know some people have already been playing them in Europe and stuff, but I feel like once I actually start entering these contests and seeing how they shake out, then yeah, like you said, you're probably going to pivot and switch it up from week to week, just based on form and obviously based on players' last 15, that kind of thing. So I really don't think we'll truly know like what we want to prioritize until we start getting into the season and start seeing how some of these contests play out. But I just love how many contests there are on the board. And
right. Yeah. I do kind of like that. It gives options and it spreads things out. And it's like my priorities might be different from your priorities. And so we're putting our good cards into different areas, and then we're not competing against each other necessarily as directly. Right.
Yeah. It kind of spreads everybody out, spreads some of the whales out, I'd say. They might say, hey, I've got enough studs to enter this Cap 270 contest. I'm going to make a run at that and maybe not so much prioritize some of the other, smaller America contests and that kind of thing.
it's funny because you start to ask yourself, like, well, what's the point of All-Star anymore, right? All-Star Rare, which used to be the threshold division, now it still exists, but it doesn't give threshold. It does give card prizes, but Cap 240s down here giving cards with super rares on top. Cap 270s giving super rares on top. You still got the regionals, and you're thinking something to yourself like 220, 240, 270. Those are also All-Star modes. You can play anyone from any league, right? So what's the point of All-Star Rare? And I think it becomes obvious when you look at the $2,000 prize on top, right? Like you play All-Star Rare for the big ETH prize on the podium for sure. Like that's where they're keeping their biggest ETH prize. So that, just adds another layer to your decision making. Am I going to chase the cash?
Yeah. And it's All-Star Rare. I'd say you also have that. If you happen to hit a podium, then you've got that star limited or star rare coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
so
you feel like I do feel like All-Star reward tiers are still going to be a little higher. I always believed, even in the old system, like a tier 1 in All-Star is usually equatable to a star rare in a regional. Not all the time, but a lot of times, depending on the region. And the star rare pool in All-Star Rare generally is a cut above, and you can count on getting one of the very best cards. Although that doesn't always happen, and people do feel a little unhappy with their rewards, and they have not been quiet about it lately. So it boils down to, you need a lot of goalies, right? If you want to play them all, and that's why I picked up a few additional goalies for what I thought were cheap, and I just can't wait to see how it all plays out in MLS. Have you played the new Cap 240 mode in terms of chasing the threshold? Do you have any thoughts there? Is it harder to get without the XP for you?
I really haven't. I've been kind of, like I said, tinkering with some of the SoRare data lineup builders, which I would encourage anybody to do. If you're playing this MLS season, then go ahead and start kind of feeling it out a little bit and seeing how your lineups shake out, because I've been trying to see how these Cap 240 contests, the threshold contests, how my lineup builds work into that. And I would encourage, like you said, you got to have some keepers, and then also you've got to have some guys, especially in the threshold contest, you've got to have some guys that are pretty low in their last 15, if not a cheat code and a 0, which I'm talking guys like Damir Kreilach is one that I think has a 0 heading into the season. He should be starting right out of the gate this year. And so a guy like that, then you can obviously probably hit the threshold, but also make a run at the podium, being able to put some bigger pieces around him.
Let's check if that's had any effect on Krylach's market real quick. As I call up his page. Yeah, this fun. I think João Paulo also is another one that has a 0 for his L15, right? For cap purposes.
João Paulo is probably one of the peak cheat codes, I guess, heading into the season.
I don't see a ton of there's not necessarily a run on Krylach cards, but you can see, like, it does. There's a couple offers at 0.06, then it jumps up to 0.09. So I think holders of Krylach that might want to be unloading him are anticipating a run here in the next few days. You can see sales have tended to perk up a little bit as we check even the price graph.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that doesn't tick up next week when people start realizing.
Yeah, decent amount of action for a guy like him who's injured. And that L15 of 0 is interesting. Yeah, we should comment on the video below if you have spotted an L15 cheat code of 0 or whatever for cap mode that you want to post below. I think anyone that stumbles on the page will definitely appreciate that for sure. So a lot of decisions to be made, and it's gonna be interesting. Obviously, many of you are already dealing with this as you play in Europe, but I do think we have a decent audience who's kind of in your boat of really being focused on MLS, and I think that's great, and that's why this show even exists. So, last thing I wanted to talk about is an issue. First off, I want to brag because I've got good news. Good news from the trenches of the SoRare streets is out there, and we did it, baby. I had a kind of a interesting, give me the trophy. We had an interesting pending opt-in. It's not official yet, but I'm gonna tempt fate by just talking about this right now. We made it happen, and I had a kind of what I would thought of at least was a tough decision for me this weekend when it came to like what to put in the midweek, excuse me. So in the midweek, I was kind of looking around for like what to put this lineup in, because I had this lineup. This was about the only line I could make with these guys. And I was like, it's kind of a short midweek. There's some nice star prizes in the All-Star Rare Pro pool. But, and I was like, in the Champion America Rare Pro, there's only 3 prizes. They literally only awarded the podium here in this division. Like, first gets a star, second gets a tier 1, and third gets a tier 2. And that's like the way it went for this. So I was like, it's kind of a risk, like entering a division that has only 3 prizes versus one where there was like, I think 35 up to tier 1 rares in the All-Star Pro. And I was like, I could just shoot for getting a nice tier 1, but I was like, let's shoot for the top, baby. And let's go for first, and let's go for broke. And let's try to win the American division with this squad. And they came through. They did it.
Yeah, I love it. And I think you reached out to me and Laird and tried to pick our brain.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just kind of analyzing what percentage you actually had to win a card. And then we just I think we all settled on like, just go with your gut. Like, 3 prizes, but you've got a pretty stellar lineup. You've got some guys that could help you win, help you get to that podium, and you did it, man. I'm pumped for you. I feel like it's a good precursor to this MLS season, going ahead and taking the whole thing down in Champion America Rare Pro. Like, it's lovely, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, and like, obviously there could be some opto adjustments. This score might not be final, and there's 3 cards left to play, but they're like all far more than 150 points away. So with a 22-point lead, even though things are 24 hours away from going official, I'm going to go ahead and declare myself the win here and hope for no opta fuckery that messes me up here. That would be, although that would be my comeuppance for sure.
So let's see what card you might win.
So I want to look at the prize pools, and I guarantee, I promise this is all like getting to a more global, larger point here. It's not all just about my own myopic, narcissistic navel gazing, but I want to look at the star prize pool here. It would be great to win a Carlos Heel. Driussi I own. I would not mind another one. Andre Blake, one of the best goalkeepers in the game. We just got to talk about it. You need other goalkeepers. Lanzalota. I have 2 Argentinos Juniors defenders, McAllister and Villalba. So Lanzalota would go with a stack there, even though I think his job is a little bit under fire. So him as a star rare, I think is potentially dicey. Arias, we start to get to guys that I would not be so excited about. Servio he was supposed to leave Rosario, and so I bought a Jorge Brown card, a super rare, because he was leaving and Brown was going to be the starter, and Servio came back, changed his mind and canceled his transfer and came back, and I had to get rid of the Brown to Pavel. So I would be just pissed if I owned him. So you start to go down.
Puge there.
What's that?
You skipped over Puge. That would have been.
Well, Puge is who I really want. Like, if I could pick my reward, I would probably pick Ricky Puge from this pool for sure. As good as Heel is, Puge being so much younger and the under 23, I would, and my belief that the Galaxy will be better this year. I just wouldn't mind having him, but I'll probably end up with like Nahuel Guzman, who I used to win the division, and then I'll get another one, or Mukhtar wouldn't be bad, Cucho wouldn't be bad. We get down, I'll probably get Dane St. Clair. Just if I thought the worst possible reward in this pool would be Dane St. Clair, probably, although Servio's not far away.
Yeah, if you end up with St. Clair, you got to be that guy that reaches out to support and says, "Hey, you guys did me dirty here. Come on."
Funny you should say that, because that is really the more global topic I want to talk about, which was it's become a very burning. It's gone from simmering to boiling, this controversy in the SoRare world the last couple of weeks of like swaps, and are the swaps getting out of hand? SoRare has had sort of a secret policy. It's an unannounced policy, if you will. Like, it's not something they make a secret of, but they don't publicize it. And it's the fact that if you feel you have been given a reward by mistake, and you're like, oh, well, this player has been injured for a month and they should have been in the prize pool, or oh, this player was not. I've seen it where it's like someone was like, this player was not in the prize pool, and then you gave him to me, so like you need to swap it out for someone who was actually in the prize pool. I get that, and I understand that, but it's gotten to this point where swaps are kind of out of control, and people are asking for swaps for like questionable things. I saw someone wanted to swap out a Reynoso limited, which I thought was crap, because like as much uncertainty as surrounds Reynoso, they do still expect him to play this year. It may take an extra month to get him back and up to speed, and that's unfortunate. I'm a Reynoso owner. I know all about it, But like, that's not like, it's not like he has a broken leg. It's not like and people won't say, oh, he's going to jail. You don't know he's going to jail. There's been no reporting that he's going to jail. So like, it's uncertain. So you can't say that's a clear mistake, right? So like, that's one. There was the famous case a couple weeks ago, or a couple days ago, last week, I think someone's had a Martin Vandervoort super rare that they won, which is one of the best young under 23 keepers on the platform, and they didn't like it, so they swapped it out for Saka, and then it was explained away behind the scenes later. Some of this stuff you only really know about if you're really plugged into the SoRare community, which, you know, maybe you should be more, maybe I should be less, who knows. But the explanation was, oh, this person who won the Vandervoort did not request the swap. It was something we did on our own proactively because we made a mistake with the prize pools. I mean, I guess that could be true. It's kind of weird that it comes out after the fact and that it only goes out to certain people. There's lack of transparency around this whole process. There's a perception of bias. People believe, whether it's true or not, people believe that bigger accounts get more preferential treatments when trying to swap out rewards for something better. And so it's a big mess for SoRare, in my opinion. It's really the thing that's kind of like ticked. There's people who, of all the market swings and stuff we talked about at the beginning of this episode, there's people who can ride that out, but what they can't ride out is like the appearance of impropriety or this idea of like bias treatment. And people just need to quit asking for swaps, to be perfectly honest. It's kind of embarrassing, in my opinion.
So we know where you stand. You're not going to request a swap if you get Dane St.
No,
Clair?
if I get Dane St. Clair, I'm stuck with Dane St. Clair. If the only thing that would ever make me reach out to support would be if I got someone who was not on that pool, that page that we just looked at. If I got someone who wasn't there, then I think that's justified. But if I got what I considered to be the worst card in the pool, so be it. I've gotten horrible rewards before for podium finishes, and the famous example of when I got some Italian league goalie who sucked, and either side of me was Alexander Arnold and Gakpo. Like, you know, that was a year and a half ago. So I whined about that, but I didn't like expect SoRare to like help make it better for me or whatever. I don't know. Just shows people need to have some pride. It's come on.
I can see where people would. I think everybody just wants to be treated fairly. Like, that's kind of the root of it. And yeah, if you see a card that's double in value versus your card that you just got of a DMP guy that's, you know, second string keeper now or something, I could see where you'd be, you know, I got screwed here. Like, I got shafted.
Hey, that's life.
Right,
it
but
happens.
It happens.
It's
but
a consequence of their system. That as
feels
long
like
as the
they've kind
rewards are quote unquote random by algorithm, this stuff's always going to happen.
Yeah, I think it just, like, where do you draw the line? Like, I kind of liken it almost to, it's kind of a whole nother instance, but I'm thinking back, I don't know, a year or two ago when we first started on the platform. I think you've fat fingered an Eric Williamson auction or something, and you bid almost what 10-20x over what.
I bid instead of 0.069, I bid 0.69.
Yeah, and so this was before.
For a card that has never sold over 0.15 in its life.
ETH was very high at that point.
Right. Oh, it was thousands,
total mistake. And this is before SoRare had some of those safety mechanisms in place, you know, to say, hey, this is over 10x the last bid. Are you sure you want to do this? Like, this is before all that. You reached out to support and nothing. Like, I would think in a case like that, if they're going to make things fair, you know, clearly a mistake on your end. Yeah, and they did nothing for you. Like, so
I actually rescinded, but what happened was I was so upset when that first happened. I did email support, and it was the weekend, so of course no one responded because they don't work weekends over in France. But by the time the weekend sorted out, they finally did get back to me like the next Monday or whatever, like 3 days later, and like, hey, we're going to look at this, and we're going to take it under advisement and see what we can do. And I responded back and I was like, don't look at it, leave it alone. I'll eat it. It's my fault. Again, have some pride. Like, I was so upset when it happened that I did reach out to support, but I rescinded my support request because eventually, like, I knew that I was at fault. Like, I'm a big believer in, like, you know what's truly right and wrong in this world. And I knew, like, it was like, if something is not my fault, then I will fight like hell to like have someone make it right for sure. But like, if I know in my heart that something is my fault, then I think eventually I just have to own up to it. And I'm the one who messed up that Williamson bid. So have some pride. Own your mistakes, accept the fact that you're not a special, perfect angel snowflake. And if you get a reward that you don't like, don't try to make some convoluted case of how, oh, this is a clear error, blah, 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 when it's not a clear error.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Just my thoughts. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
I can't promise I'm not going to be that guy if I end up.
Well, hit just really quick before we wrap. Hit me with the counter argument. I could be wrong here.
No, I think I mentioned like I can see both sides of it. I can see where people would feel like they got screwed, and if that door is open, if that window's open, which SoRare obviously has opened that can of worms, then why not, say, hey, I got a Dan St. Clair when, guys are getting Ricky Puge's. Something's a little bit off here. Like, it's clearly a difference in value. And I don't think, I can see where you're saying, hey, own up to it. Like it's part of the game, whatever. But I feel like since SoRare has opened that up a little bit to where they're allowing people to come and say, hey, can you please review this? And if they see something on their side that says, yeah, something looks a little bit off, like we recognize that and we're willing to fix it, then I'm good with that.
All right. Consistent clarity, transparency, consistency are the answers, I think. And there's other suggestions which are like create a new tier of even specialer like podium rewards that are like make sure you get someone really good. There's I believe they should publish the rewards schedule or rewards calendar in advance of a game week, and you should know when the game week starts what you're going to get for first place, what you're going to get for 150th place, what you're going to get for 2000th place in limited. I think that would be really helpful, but we'll see that, or just have someone do anything, because like the same mistakes and the same issues keep happening over and over again. And like if Reynoso's not a good reward, if Martin Vandervoort's not a good reward, then why are they in the reward pool? So like SoRare needs to like step up. SoRare does need to fix this. Ultimately, I'm hating the players more than the game in this argument, and I'm sorry about that. But like in the end, it's SoRare's mistakes, and they're the ones that need to fix it because they're shaking long-term confidence in the platform.
Yeah, I don't disagree there.
All right, well, that'll do it for us. We're super hyped. We didn't really get into specific players too much this episode, but I hope you enjoy some of these this discussion around larger topics in the game as we're like 1 week away. Cannot wait for MLS. Next week, we're coming at you. We might do 2 episodes next week. I've been talking to some friends of the show. SoRare USA, aka Fripp, wants to come on, but he's like halfway around the world on his crazy sojourns around the globe. So he's a weird time zone.
In Japan somewhere.
Yeah. One of us might have to do a solo episode with Fripp just to like get him in. But we will be back next week, same time, and we'll do. Tell us in the comments what you want to hear. Is it in terms of like, do you want us to like build the optimal lineup that we feel for the first weekend's games, or just focus on like the best deals or whatever? We'd love to hear your feedback. Had a great time answering feedback last week, and we'll do it again next week. Schuyler, you got anything before we go?
Yeah, I think it's time to introduce the definite decisives next week, where we're gonna predict who will definitely get us a decisive.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do our top 3 definite decisives, or maybe we should just say one.
Maybe we should do guaranteed. No, I want to do guaranteed goal and automatic assist. I think we need to like pick a decisive for each one for sure.
Yeah,
and maybe also our favorite. We can rank our. I can't guarantee anything, but our favorite goalie to get a clean sheet would be another one as well. So
yeah, I love it. Let's do it.
Definite decisives are coming. Yeah, we're excited to make that a huge part of the show. So until then, I want to say thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for just paying attention to what we're doing. And vamos.